guess the big question is like, how does a man start to develop personal charisma in their life?
There's a bunch of different approaches you can take if you're starting out and you're like, oh, which direction do I go? So I'm going to share a few ideas, a few different directions. And I would suggest you pick the one that sounds right. I'll try that one out first. One thing you can do, one of the most charismatic guys I ever met, he's an accountant, right? He's the least charismatic industry. Sorry, accountants, but he loves it. He is such a number geek. Anyway, he's on good money, right? He's an accountant. Cool. Have you ever met a broke accountant? So at the weekends, I was like, what are you doing this weekend? He's like, I'm working. I'm like, you're working on Saturday? He's like, yeah. He goes, I've got a job delivering pizza. I'm like, what are you delivering pizza for? He goes, I work at a holiday park near where he lived. He was working at his holiday park delivering pizza, just for the jokes, just for the amusement of it. So he'd like knock on people's doors and like be eating a bit of their pizza. So, oh, do you want some? And I was like, what? It was bamboozling to me. And he's like, yeah. He goes, well, if I get fired, I don't mind. He's an accountant. He's got a full-time job, but he was he's putting himself in a part-time job where he could get loads of experience of interacting with people on a daily basis. He was basically their delivery boy, their go-to guy, their bus boy kind of thing. Super charismatic dude. He was not above just playing around and doing fun things. In fact, I met him working in a cinema, and I learned from him by watching him. We would sell popcorn, and I would say like things like, Fatix speak like, can I help anybody? That would, can I help anyone? Oh. He would just stand there going, can I help anyone? Can I help anyone? Can I help anyone? Like a robot, like a weirdo, like an idiot. And people loved him, and he would just try and experiment. So he would put himself into jobs with low risk jobs where he could just play around and be goofy and get loads of experiences. So what jobs do that? Anything where you're in customer service, anything where you're facing people, anything where you're working on a kiosk, even McDonald's, perfect, because you've got a constant stream of people. And so one of the things I did is I worked in the cinema, and I made it a point that every single person who would come up to me, I would say something different, even if it was like, you look like you're hungry, or he dies at the end, like if they're going to see a movie. But I would keep changing it, and I started telling crap jokes, and it didn't matter because those people would be gone in like 20 or 30 seconds. And the next people would be in. So that built up my repertoire. It gave me lots of reference experiences. So that's one thing you can do. That was a very long answer for that. Another thing you can do is hang around people who have the skill or ability you want. That might be you go to a drama class or comedy improv class, or you just even get put into a random group of people. There'd be a couple of characters that stand out. Like I go to a boxing class a couple of times a week. There's a couple of charismatic people in there. You'll know who they are because they make other people feel emotions. For intimidation, you're going to punch your face in. But those personalities will stick out. And so try and hang around. Put yourself in the same space as people like that. Another thing you can do is if you're getting the groceries or shopping, because we're British, right? But if you pay money to somebody, right, on a till, on a checkout, you bought the right to talk to them as well, right? So, it's £15. I buy this bottle of crap whiskey for £15. I'm going to get £15 of free training out of this as well. That's another way. So it's about building up those reference experiences. And as I mentioned earlier, not just you do it and forget about it. You think, what can I do better next time? A completely different approach is, you said embodiment, and that's such a powerful concept, because the problem is with guys, we think in our heads, right? We're like problem solving, but we've also got centers of decision making in our heart and in our gut. And so in the olden days of the Hermetic orders that were around Europe, there was the idea of you had three cauldrons, your head, heart, and gut, and your best decisions would be made when all three of those are in alignment. So does your gut match your heart? Does your heart match your head? So making heart-led decisions, making gut decisions, just trying to move your conscious awareness to those areas of your body. Now, my improv teacher years ago said this. I don't know if it was just true or not, but it was an interesting thought. He said, apparently the Romans, I guess he wasn't around at the time, But he said they thought the brain just cooled your blood. They thought the solar plexus was the area of where your consciousness was. And so he was saying that we've learned to put our consciousness in our head. But you can, through if you meditate, you can put your consciousness in every other part of your body, even that part. Yeah. The kneecap. That's what I was talking about. So we can move our consciousness around. So that's a thing to play with. Move your consciousness into different areas of your body. Like, are you approaching a conversation or approaching experience like you've got to go on stage and give a presentation from your head, or you're just going to wing it from your heart, like you feel into it, or you're going to do it from your gut and just be like really ballsy, or actually all your balls if you're, So that's the fourth area. That's that's the VIP training area. Anyway, but this is something to play with, embodiment, being connected to your body. So a really charismatic guy I met was a tango teacher, and he didn't speak much. He wasn't super chatty, but he was charismatic because he made the room feel like electricity, just because he knew how to hold himself and look at people and I see into your soul. I'm like, oh my God, all the bad things I've done. And he knows. I see it in the way you dance. So there's lots of ways that the ultimate thing, right? The big thing. And this is something, as I said, I've been doing this, or you mentioned, I've been doing this for 2 decades. And I only just found this out recently. Dang, if I'd found this out at the start. If you want to get good at something, the secret is you make a very clear decision with yourself that I am going to get really good at this. Every student I've had that have done amazing, they have made that decision. Right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get really, really good at it. And you start by making that decision. So if you want to be really charismatic and there's no teacher out there, there's no route or path ahead, you can do it. You can figure it out. But you just got to start with the decision. Like, right, I'm gonna figure this out. And yes, you can do it. Everyone is your teacher. So anytime you chat to anybody and you feel resistance, and what do I mean by resistance? Tension in your body, butterflies in your stomach, doubt, fear, uncertainty, anything like that, there's a lesson to be learned there. Because if you think like when you, so when do you drive?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when
Yes.
you want to start the car, you just put the key in the ignition and turn it on, right? Or you press a button these days. You don't really think about it. You're thinking about, I need to get to the end of the road or wherever you're going. So it's an unconscious decision almost to put the key in the ignition. You just do it because that's what you've always done to get where you need to get. And when doubt and fear comes up, you don't fear, unless you were in the mafia, you don't fear about putting the key in the ignition, right? You just turn the car. Your car's not going to blow up, hopefully. So anytime you're getting tension in your body or resistance or the conscious mind's coming alive, and you start talking like, oh, what's going on? What am I doing? That's because it's not seamless yet. It's not unconscious yet. So that means there's there's lessons to be learned there, because once it becomes unconscious, you don't need to think about it anymore. It doesn't even become a thing. So really true charisma is not something you do, it's something you are. And that comes from working through all the little blocks that appear. Now, those blocks aren't like because you're broken, like, oh, how come I've got these blocks and no one else has? Everyone's got blocks. They all have. They may appear in different ways, but they've got them. So it's great that you feel a block. Most people just skim over it or go and drink alcohol or something. Like if the block comes up, ask yourself, right, what is this trying to teach me? The lesson will present itself and you'll know the lesson's done because you don't think about it anymore. It's done. You don't, it's seamless, just like flicking on a light switch or turning that ignition key.
I love that analogy you say about not fearing turning the key. We don't worry about that. We don't worry about that choice. We don't overthink it. We don't think, oh my God, what are people going to think about me when I turn this key? We just kind of do it. We trust that everything's going to be okay. And we trust that we can handle. We know it's going to be okay. We also trust it's going to happen. And if something doesn't happen, we kind of trust in that moment we can deal with it. I go, it's just turn the key. Yeah. And there's just so many different ways, like everyone is your teacher. I love what you were saying about the head, the heart and the gut. I did a training for a company called ISTA a few years ago, which was pretty wild. And I think of it because a friend of mine's just done it now, and they had exactly that. It's like the head, the heart, the gut, the balls, and all these places are helping you make decisions. You can kind of bring your awareness to each of them, and they give you a different type of information. You know, like when we think of our heads, we think of very logical, and our heart is like the feeling, gut is like, you know, almost like intuition. Our balls can be quite just instinctive and passionate. But we get so stuck in the head, you know, we've come to realize that we think our head is our brains are the most important things, when in fact, you know, there's a lot of great information coming out of the kind of trauma therapies and talking about the importance of alignment of heart. And I'll add in, actually, I did a course for a company called Heart Math about a couple of years ago, and they say that the heart sends out a electromagnetic field that's about 3 feet from our bodies. So when we interact with people, our hearts respond to their emotions, even if they don't mention what's going on. There's like a sub-communication. So like our heart has like huge amounts of useful information for us to work with. And, you know, it's so easy for us to just like be in the head because that's the safe place. That's the place we're used to. It's where we feel at home to some degree. But in fact, as I hear you say, it's like we're actually cutting ourselves off from like 75% of the available knowledge about the moment that's there for us.
Yeah, totally. It's and I think I say human life, but I think, you know, everyday life is set up for that, to be in the head. So you do have to make a bit of an effort to get out. That's why I like to try and find reasons to play. So play doesn't mean necessarily stuck in the mud or playground games. That can be fun, but it's like maybe doing new things as much as you can, because you get new information come in. As soon as you put yourself in areas of new information, like go to a woods, go to a forest, if you that's not something you usually do. Go karting if you've never tried it. Getting all these new experiences gives you touch points, reference points, and that's how you collect evidence to not only write a good story, but also to just develop yourself, really.